Hello and welcome back to the Foreground Podcast. My name is Moaga. I do not have my good friend and wingman Peter Lee with me, but it's all good. We are going to push through anyway. Today we are just so excited to have a guest, but before we get to the guest, I just want to do a massive shout out to our sponsors and supporters. Lumbr Café here on Spine Street in Sumner. They provide the best beverages you will ever have. And chicken wraps. Schnitzel is my favorite. So if you come in, ask for the race special. They probably will look at you with a blank stare and go, we don't know what you're talking about. Ray said the chicken wrap schnitzel, that's the number one. Mwah! Perfecto. So thank you again for Lumbr Cafe for your support and sponsorship. Speaking of which, another supporter of ours is Alani Networks Media, the crew that put together this amazing lighting, the microphones, the reels, the video footage. Everything you see is them. So again, if you're looking for that particular need for your organization, how big or small, these guys are amazing to work with. Our boy Carlin is in the background. He's nodding his head. He knows what's up. So again, very grateful to them as well. And also I want to do a shout out before we crack on to our listeners. Had one of the listeners this morning reach out to me and say, hey, if we come in and we mention the podcast, do we get a free coffee? I was like, let me talk to the owner of the cafe in case everyone starts using that as a means to come in for free coffee. But speaking of free coffee, if you do come on a Tuesday, it is their community hour. So you can get a free coffee. Use our name then. So on Tuesday here at Spine Street Lumbr Cafe, they do a community hour. I believe it's from 9 till 10? 9 till 10. I've just been told. That's my producer on the sideline. Just 9 till 10. So again, our guest is in front of me. 9 till 10, bro. Come in. Free coffee. Bring your meetings here. And you will enjoy that on behalf of, there's always a different sponsoring organization or business who sponsors the community hour. So again, grateful to every single one of you who listen in. We've had lots of feedback. We've had lots of suggestions. We've had lots of thumbs up, likes, and shares on our social media. So again, we are so grateful. This week I posted a thank you post on our social media. You would have seen that if you follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. We're so grateful. We don't care if one person is listening, but to have on Spotify and YouTube, we have over 3,000 streams. I think on Spotify, 2.5 views or streams on YouTube. Even if it's watching the first 5 minutes, we'll take it. We'll take it. We're grateful for that. And so speaking of which, of views, we are here today viewing, and we're going to listen and chat to, I would say, a good friend of mine, colleague in a sense that we work in a sort of the same industry, but this is someone that I truly respect. And before we get to him, because again, I just remembered something. If Pete was here, he'll remind me. The Foreground Podcast, we are big on the 4 C's of our podcast, which is culture, community, connection, and corporate. Those are the 4 elements which we weave our conversation and also invite our guests to speak into as well. So now we're going to go to our guest, David Solomona. He is, I don't even want to call you a former player, because I reckon if you still had the chance, you know that Run It Straight, that competition?
Zero chance.
Yeah. So he's a former elite athlete, played in NRL, played in Super League, played international caps as well. But now he sits in another role. He's also a community leader. And we'll dive into that a little bit more. But also now he sits in a position where he gets to be someone like the bridge between players and the NRL. I'll get him to explain that very shortly. But again, very grateful. I've often tried to reach out to Dave, and he's a busy man, all for the good busy, not the bad busy, but all the good busy. But again, so grateful again that you're joining us. Dave, welcome.
My Lord, this is for Ray. I appreciate you inviting me to come on this podcast here. Thankful to be in this beautiful setting. I know a lot of people probably watching this online, wondering where this is, but man, I only live down the road, and so
you're local.
I'm going to be here on Tuesdays now. I've heard there's free coffee, so I'm going to be here with half my family. Yeah. So yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. There we go. I guess one of the biggest things, I have watched you growing up. Again, I was late to watching rugby league. I moved here from New Zealand in the early 90s, so before the New Zealand Warriors even began. So I'm a sports fan, but then obviously seeing your name pop up in certain places and whatnot. Did you? I guess the question I'm leading to, when you hear introductions such as what I've just introduced, what does that Does that make you nervous? Is that a reflection piece for you? Like, I know it seems like a long time ago, but what does it do for you when you're being introduced in that sort of framework?
I guess for me also I've learned to I've grown into being comfortable to be introduced in that space. I think for a long time, as an islander, I guess we're very humble, and I get very embarrassed when anyone even brings up the fact that I played sport. I think if anyone looked at me now, they'd be like, what sport did he play? Was it sumo wrestling or so? Yeah,
strong man.
Yeah,
strong man.
Hey, Eddie Williams, man.
Yeah,
Man.
it.
So
we need to get him on too.
Yeah, so I guess for me, very humbled to know that I was fortunate to do that for a career.
Yeah.
But I'm what I've learned is very grateful for that part. I'm in such a different season of my life right now, and very grateful to be where I am right now in regards to my job, my family. Where I am. Yeah, right now.
We're going to get to that very shortly, but a question that just is curious to me as you're sharing, like, so at the moment, what brings you the most joy?
Church and family, man, like my relationship with God. If you were to ask me, man, literally woke up this morning within 5 minutes in my garage and just, sitting, listening to some worship this morning straight away. I like to start my day like that. Man, just being in the presence of God is, for me personally, brings me the most joy. It anchors me. It's where I find peace. And then just family. Like anyone that knows me knows, I love my wife, my children, my parents, my cousins. So I love being around my family as well. So that and some nice food. So man, probably one thing gets me excited is know what we're having for dinner.
It's the 3 Fs, you know what I mean? Faith,
family,
and food. There we go, the triple Fs. Speaking of faith, this weekend, for the listeners who are tuning in, is the big Pacific Championship in the NRL. We got Tonga, we've got the Toa Samoa team, and probably one of the biggest elements that I've noticed even in the last few years is this element of faith that has been like sort of, I don't even know if it's pushed forward, but it's now highlighted. Like in your observation of the game, like, is that something that you sort of are proud of? And like, what's been your observations that faith is now a big thing in footy, but especially when it comes to like the nations and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I'm obviously proud of the fact that players feel bold enough to, show their faith on the big stage. Not something that they, kind of shy away from when they're out on the field or after games or that, but even just players being able to talk about their faith openly on podcasts. And I think, there's been quite a lot of players who've led that as well. And I'm also really mindful of players in the past who, almost chastised for being a Christian in that space. And, I remember someone like Ali Lotiti at the Warriors in 2004, when they asked him, is this the most important thing? Is rugby league the most important thing to you? And he said, no, it's not. And almost pretty much got cut from the club because they thought he wasn't all in with the club. So I think, being able to see players bold with their faith or bold with whatever beliefs they have, I'm again mindful of those that have kind of paved the way for them to allow to be bold. But I think it's a beautiful thing to see players actually kind of feel that they're established enough within the game to know that their faith's important.
What was it like for you when you were going through like playing, like, again, like for those who because we got listeners who don't follow footy at all, but like you've played for so many NRL clubs, you played in Super League, you played some international caps. Like, was it something that you could talk about and share? Because I guess, and the reason why I'm asking that, like, it's a bit of a, almost not a controversial topic, but it's like, if I say I'm a player of faith and I begin to pray or write verses on the thing, I get, I don't know if I should. But what was it like for you when you were playing?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, one of the things that helps these days is you can go to any NRL club and there'll be half the players will be Pacific Islander. And anyone knows that Pacific Islanders are brought up within the church, have a strong belief in Christ and that. So very easy to feel comfortable with the numbers as well. I'm kind of reminded when I moved to Australia in the 90s and went to the Roosters and being pretty much the only Islander in the team. So, I would say it was something that there was a lot of pressure, not pressure, but I felt like it wasn't something that was welcomed, and not something that I discussed. And I think it was something that did make the adjustment to Australia hard. And so I think obviously having a lot of people that share the faith, a lot of people that come from the same sort of background for players now, it's a lot easier to, to find someone who goes to church or that. And I know the game in itself, having worked in that space, I know the game in itself supports kind of like finding out, backgrounds of players and what they do. And prior to relocating them, try and support that kind of, that importance of what they believe in.
Yeah. So what's something you're proud of seeing in the game today that's like didn't exist back then, but something that you're like, hey, this is kind of cool what this generation of players are doing or shaping the new narrative? Is there anything particular that kind of stands out for you?
I love the boys being able to feel confident to get on the field and pray straight after games.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's not always just the same team. I love that there's a unity between believers after games, regardless of what team they play for. And I saw that on the field in the New Zealand Samoa game last week. Yeah, straight after the game, a few of the boys who are real close get down and kind of spend time in prayer. So, I think anything that can unify players and make them feel comfortable and understand that there's something bigger than the game is really important for me. I think, being able to kind of release the pressure of the environment that they're in is important. And I know from my own personal experiences, it's such an important part of who you are.
Yeah, and it's an identity piece. I was listening to a podcast between Mel Robbins and Angela Duckworth, and those two names are pretty incredible. They're both as well-established authors, great speakers. But Angela Duckworth, she's the author of the book Grit. So you hear that name or that book quoted so many times around so many like literature, social media. If you follow them on social media, do. But one of the things she said about having purpose and meaning, like something that's bigger than yourselves, and she breaks it down this way. She says, purpose is basically having a passion of something, like something you really love, but being able to have that for a long, sustained period of time. Because sometimes we talk about passion and purpose, we're like, yep, it comes in bursts in short time frames. But she says what grit is and what purpose and meaning, that's intertwined, going, your purpose and meaning should be something you're super passionate about, but you're doing it consistently for such a long time. And I think that's super important to note, because I think in a society where we live in and everything's like, I want it now, I want it quick, I want it yesterday, and it's almost like that temporary feel. Like, where have you seen that play out for you in terms of something that you're passionate about and you've been doing it for such a long time? Like, bar footy, but what has been something else for you in your world, in your life, and you felt like something that you're going, you know what, I'm really passionate about, and many people probably don't know this about you.
Oh, far out. Man, I'm just trying to think. I think, man, if I'm honest, there's probably one thing that's been very consistent, and it might not look like it, but my family, just the importance of trying to take care of our health. Yeah. My family, since I moved to Brisbane from England around 13 years ago, we've trained as a family, and we've done that consistently for 13 years. And there's been times where we've had 20 people come, and there's times where we've had one person show up, but we've done it consistently almost every year, every week of every year for the last 13 years. And it kind of goes back to that when you're talking about grit, and I love that whole conversation as well. And like for me, I believe that grit is almost a seed that plants discipline. You know what I mean? Like, and for me, I believe like, I'm a big believer in motivation is great, but discipline is better. And I feel like, grit allows you to kind of do something consistently time after time. Yeah. And then when it becomes discipline, it becomes who you are. And, you probably know better than anyone, the whole, your words become your actions become your habits. Yeah, and just almost leading into your destiny. So for me, being able, one thing I'm proud of is, it may not look like it, but we've consistently as a family, we've been able to train. And I love the fact that through that, it's it's brought in different relationships within my family, brought different people into our community. It's encouraged certain members of my family, and I feel like being able to do it as well has shown that there's importance in being consistent within my family as well. And you know, I'm a big believer in being the example. It's one thing to say something, but nothing to do it as well. So, you know, I feel like that's one thing that within my family, you know, I've got a couple of cousins as well that have been really consistent with that, and it's been a big driving force in making me realize the importance of discipline over motivation. Yeah.
Is that something you just like thought of just now? Is that a framework that you just like, oh, maybe this is my framework? Maybe I've done it for such a long time I didn't even know. Like in terms of discipline, like is that something you learn in footy, or because you've done it with your family for such a long time, leading them that way? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I guess having played elite sport for 15 years, man, discipline's such an important part of what you do. And I probably had to work a lot harder than a lot of other people. Like during the off season, I was a guy that it wouldn't look like it, but I trained all through off season because I had to push myself to be just even in the pack, let alone not nowhere near the front, but just to be there. And I knew the importance of that. And for me, I've seen the fruit of being able to be disciplined in certain areas of my life and what it's been able to produce. And I know from my own life, being able to be consistent in certain areas, I've seen, again, the fruit that's produced from being disciplined in those spaces. And probably even more so away from sport, but just within my faith as well. I've seen that, I don't know, there's an authenticity of being able to stand in front of others and know, like, I'm doing everything I can to be the best I can, you know, without being like up there saying like, I know I'm falling short in these areas, and we all fall short. But I love the being genuine and knowing like, man, I'm trying my hardest to be as disciplined in all these areas. And an example is, again, like waking up this morning, like I have to tell myself, no, this is important. Get up, go on my phone and put worship music on and be like, don't press Instagram. No, don't do it. You know what I mean? And bro, it's a battle, but like, man, constantly trying to submit my flesh into my spirit. I feel like the more you can be disciplined with that, the more you can kind of overcome this stuff.
One of the things, there was 1,000 questions that I had coming for you, but the most recent thing you were just saying about being disciplined, again, I go back to this book, Grit, and Angela Duckworth. She says there's a thing called psychological distance, and she says, and then physical distance. So psychological distance and physical distance. And she says, now I want you to do it with me. Like, put your arm out, like so. This is your physical space. Like, you know, we say, this is my personal space. So anything in this range is your personal space, right? You can put your hands down. Oh, I can leave it up. But she said, anything within this space is your physical distance, is your physical space, is your personal space. She says, in the same way, it's also your psychological space. So when she says, when it comes to discipline and actually being gritty and doing the thing, she says, if anything is distracting you, it should be beyond your physical space. Because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So meaning, if I have my phone next to me, that means I'm prioritizing. It's in my physical distance, within my reach, which means psychologically, I can get access to it. That was like a game changer. And it was a reminder for me again. It's like how often the things that are within our realm, like our space, that really is the priority, and that's what really dictates our life, or that's what we give our energy into. And I think when it comes to like commitment and discipline, like it's the act of, do I put my phone up? What am I choosing? What's in my physical space? Like when I train in the morning, I trained this morning with some of the boys, Spring King, shout out to Spring Kings. Please follow us on social media. We're doing this thing, Dave, and maybe you can join us one time. It's for all men 30 years older. I was going to be cruel and go, hey, this is a 40s club because I'm 40, I'm 41. But it's basically bringing sprinting back and going, I'm done. I'm done with the run clubs. Everyone's doing marathons. Amazing. I got mates who do it all the time. But like, what happened to sprinting? And a lot of the conversations I hear from some younger generation of dads who they hit their 30s and I just stopped running, you know. But then as soon as they have their kids, they go to the athletics carnival. There's a parents race. All of a sudden, like, yeah, I still got this. Next minute, first 5 minutes, bah, hamstring, calf muscle. So for me, I bring that back around to like anything within my physical distance, like it is within my psychological distance as well. Like it's important to me. So before I go to sleep, I lay out my clothes, bro. I lay out my clothes. I put my shirt, my socks, my shorts right next to my bed. So the first thing I do when I roll out, say my prayer, but then I grab my clothes, put it on straight away. And I think there's something interesting about that when it comes to discipline. Like, have you ever had things like that where you're thinking now, like, oh, what's in my physical distance? And because it impacts your psychological thought about how you commit to a goal or a plan.
Man, that's right. Just even as you're sharing that, like, I'm just reminded of everything. Again, the phone. Man, I think even just for a lot of our communities, just food, like, you know, the addictive nature of food. And it's funny. I think when I think about it, a lot of the things that people are addicted to, they allow in they're things that you know aren't good for you, but you still allow them in your space. You know, whether it be alcohol, drugs, females or males, whatever it is. You know, I think anything that you allow close to you, you invite into, possibly being addicted to it. Yeah. And it's so true. I don't know how many times, when you were saying that, I was just reminded of how many times I'd be doing something and then I'd be like, where's my phone? And I'd be looking for my phone and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I forgot I left my phone over there. But you're so used to it being so close to you because you want it straight away to do stuff. And it's, for me, man, there's a whole heap of stuff in my life there. And for me, I guess the phone is such a big one as well.
I want to segue into family because part of that psychological distance and physical distance she's talking about, what's priority, like is I want to speak into the family thing, and sport kind of is the segue. Like you're a footy player. People know you as the identity of the footy player and whatnot, but your family, particularly your daughter, she's a netballer. And I really want to segue this because it's like some of the things that you've said in terms of discipline, and you got this pep talk. In my mind, I'm like, wow, Dave Souls, like he's got this motivational talk. Like, do you as a dad are trying to say the same things to her, or you're trying to get her to figure it out on her own, and you're just there as dad, or you're there as motivator, encourager, coach? Like, what's that role like been for you? Because like netty is her thing, like netball's her thing. We had Paula Stewart on the podcast.
I was going to say, shout out to Paula Stewart. Yeah. She's one of my daughter's favorite people
Coaches.
as well. So we love Paula. I'm to be honest, I'm the in regards to sport and my children, I'm the guy who says a lot when they're not around, and then when they're there, I'm just the supportive background. And my wife, anyone knows or follows some of my social media, my wife is the super sideline coach. So shout out to my wife, Utu Maui. So my wife, Utu, she's, and it's weird. Like, although I played sport, I feel like my daughter, she just does not care that I played sport because I did not play netball. So I can tell her whatever I want around sport. But she's so focused on whatever my wife says, which is fine for me. You know, I love just being dad. I love just being supportive of her sport. And just being able to go to games and watch and see her enjoy it has been a joy for me. You know, and I just know with sport, you know, it's such a teaching tool for children. It's a great way for them to learn about disappointment, discipline, you know, the highs and lows of life, and stuff that, you know, you don't need to do as a parent. Kind of sport allows to be the teacher in that kind of space as well. So for my daughter, it's been great to kind of sit there and her realize what you put in is what you get out. And I don't need to say it because sometimes she might say, "Oh, I was tired of this," and I'll be like, "What were you doing this week?" You know what I mean? I need to say, you can, you know, sport will reveal it to you. I'm just for me, to be honest, I'm just a sideline dad who supports, and I leave all the coaching to my wife. Yeah.
So give us some of your hot tips. Just say 3 hot tips as a sideline dad. Like if we could talk to parents, like sideline parents and sideline dads and mums, auntie, like what is some hot tips that'll be helpful for them if they have a child who's pursuing sport or just enjoying sport, like what are some things that you've learned in that space?
Man, the two big things I've been asked this a lot, having worked in a space, but before working with NRL clubs, I worked primarily with junior rugby league teams, so the elite rugby league kids here in Queensland. So I was always hit up by parents like, oh, what should I do with my kids? And the two main things I would say is, the first is for your kids to get into good habits, and for you to be in good habits as well as a parent. I think it's one thing for you to tell your kids to do something, but you need to be the example as well. So I'm talking about good habits in regards to being on time, waking up early, training, being disciplined with your sleep, and that. All those little things. Like, habits are really hard to form when you make a rep team when you're 18 or 19 if you've never done it since you're younger. And the other one is just be coachable. So I think if you can get into good habits when you're young, and if you can be coachable, you're someone who can take critiques and listen. I think that's such an important part of it. And I guess the kind of overarching thing for that is, just the importance of being a good kid, a good parent as well. I think, for me, some of the most memorable kids aren't kids that I watched play and I thought, man, he's so good. It was kids that would come up and shake my hand and say, man, thank you so much, I appreciate that. A kid that would come early, or a kid that would stay behind and help pack the chairs away. And when I think of players in the NRL that I can say are just like that, I'm talking Ali Katoa, Isaiah Papali'i, Chance Nickel Klokstad. Like, these guys are guys that I can instantly tell you they're just really good, beautiful people, and they're memorable to me because of who they are, not of what they do. Yeah. And I think, like, for young kids, that's an impression that you can have on people, impact, and I think that's something that parents can have as well. Yeah. Like, you don't need to be the all up on the coach, man. Just, I feel like beautiful people are always remembered by what they do and how they act. And I think just, if there was one tip for me, it would just be like the importance of being that person. You know what I mean? You don't need to be the sports person all the time. They're always asking this or that, man. Just try and be genuine and be loving and be respectful. And I feel like that's one thing that coaches, clubs, they'll always remember you by.
I think the quote that comes to mind is Maya Angelou, where she says, people may not remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel.
Amen. Yeah.
And I think in a space that both you and I work, like in NRL, and we're going to transition into your role at League Ahead and explain a bit about that, but it's just like, kindness is overrated almost in a sense, because they think kindness is weakness. It means soft, you're like gentle, you're like, no, it's to be human, to be respectful, it's to be seen, it's to be heard, it's to feel like you're valued. So that's what we're talking about here, because I think it's a value that, people don't often think, like, just to be nice and kind and considerate. It's like, oh yeah, someone else can do that. But bro, how big is that value? Like, it's so important nowadays.
It's so true. And for me, I think, man, working at that kind of elite level of rugby league as well, and working with NRL players, NRL coaches, international players, I don't know, and it sounds real fluffy and cheesy, but man, I love meeting good people. You know what I mean? And there's so many, there's so many players. Man, I was just thinking in the weekend, like talking to Roger after the game, or talking to Junior Polo. Like, those boys, they're just beautiful people, man. Like, and when I think of them as great football players, but just really approachable people. And the thing I always say is, I can tell they've been brought up right. You know what I mean? That's the thing that I take away from it.
It's so true. Part of the work that I do, I go into high schools and I'm talking to executive principals. Myself and Peter were out at 2 schools yesterday out west, out Ipswich ways, and we're just explaining some of the programs we do in schools. And one of the ones that we're at a school where it was like a construction pathway. So we sort of sit in that space, but every kid that we spoke to, we started off with a construction talk and then ended up just talking about life. Because we just said, hey, there's all the other external providers in the room. If you want to know construction, hey, go there, because we're partnered with them. Or if you want to do, rigging, and if you want to do like high-rise building or civil engineering, go see them people. But the piece that we worked on, we eventually got around to these kids. It's like, are you a good human? Because at the end of the day, whether you're in school, whether you're at sport, whether you're at corporate where we are, we're talking education circles now, that is the most number one thing I think that most people are really inclined to be attracted to, going, is this person a good person? Because you can I definitely know I can sense it. I know when someone's a good person. There isn't like key indicators, but like you said, the way someone talks, the way they carry themselves, the way they behave when no one's looking. Like, you know, tell us about it. Like,
nah, man, I love that. When I think of me moving to Australia as well, one thing I was always super conscious of was like, will my mum and dad be happy with this decision? Or like I was always worried, like, will my mum and dad be happy? Like when I moved to NRL and everyone would drink, I wouldn't drink, and I was so fearful of my parents finding out and being like, bro, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And even when I think of my wife, when there's a decision that needs to be made that I know she needs to make a stand on something, I always say to her, you know your dad wouldn't be happy with that, or you know what your dad would do. And she instantly knows, okay, you know what I mean? And I think it's, for me, it speaks into the importance of mentorship, or your parents, or the influence that they have on you. But then, also just, you know, trying to be a good person, such an important skill that some people kind of lose. And the higher you go, sometimes it's easier to kind of lose that. And I've met a lot of guys who, I met a lot of guys in the space who I'm like, bro, I think you've lost touch with who you really are, you know, being in this space. So I think, for a lot of us, it's such an important part to kind of understand where you come from.
Who have been your biggest mentors?
My dad. I grew up in a house where my dad was just a hard worker. To be honest, a lot of my younger years growing up, my dad wasn't a churchgoer, but my dad always pushed us to go to church.
Wow.
And I grew up in hard to kind of explain, but I grew up in a couple of houses right next to each other. So I grew up with almost 20 to 30 people, and every Sunday at Kongai, my parents would do a lot of the cooking. So like everyone would go to church, and my parents would do a lot of the cooking, but my parents, not until I got into my latter years of high school did my parents start going into church, and church became super important. And but all through that, my dad has always been a really strong influence in regards to my faith, real strong influence in regards to my sport, and just a good example of what a husband, a brother, a father should be. And then also my dad's brothers, like I grew up with, my dad's the eldest of 12, and some of my dad's brothers, very strict, but also very loving. Like sometimes they could be like the strict uncle, but then they can also be like best mates. And like really fortunate to have probably them in my life who I've kind of been able to go to, and not just my dad's brothers, but even some of my dad's cousins as well. I grew up in a really close family, and so I didn't have to look far for mentorship.
And it's crazy, like I'm in the same category in the sense that my mentors were family, and I never said, hey, you are going to be my mentor. I think that's a concept that's only come about since people started writing literature and thesis and books and going, do you need to have a mentor? I was like, I've always grown up with older male, and for me, older female. Like in my family, I've never grown up with a granddad, because both of my granddads died when my parents were so my parents only had their dads around in their teenage years, and then they died. So I've always grown up with matriarchs in our family. So for me, when people have to go, how do you connect so well with women, Ray? I'm like, I was raised by women. Like my two grandmothers on both sides of my family, my mum's mum, my dad's mum, they're good friends.
Wow.
So not only that, so I was raised by both. And then a household like my mum, my sisters, my cousins, and even some of my best friends in school. It was funny. It was always questioned. It was like, hey, Ray, how do you pull the girls? I'm like, what do you mean? I don't understand. But it's because I was comfortable being around women. Like I just, hey,
how do you pull
love
the
you,
girls, man?
Must be nice.
Man.
Must be nice.
Man, I'll keep my t-shirt on this podcast, man.
But mentorship is one thing that we're big in Foreground Performance. Who do you say, like I want to press into now a bit of work, like who would you say is a career mentor for you, like some of the work that you're doing now, and explain a bit about the work that you do. So mentorship, but also the work that you do now.
Yeah, so, man, really good question. In regards to mentorship at work, it's been a few people.
Yeah.
I think going from school straight into full-time sport, my first role was working at a school. My first proper job post-football was working at Bundamba State High School
Yo,
in
shout
Ipswich. And then Woodridge. I worked at Woodridge. So, yeah, shout out to Jackie at Bundamba and shout out, yeah, man, the crew at Woodridge.
Yeah. He was there.
They're such a family, family kind of school.
Yeah.
And man, I think just the whole island kind of community at Woodridge was so impactful in my life. Yeah, and I think one of the things I've kind of I think for me is I found the importance of having some people within my Pacifica community to mentor me. When I first came into work at the NRL, really fortunate to work with a man named Murray Hurst who lives up in Townsville now. And he was one of the keys in regards to getting me work at the NRL. And also a guy named Jason Fitters. Man, I
Jace.
Yeah, I can't go on without talking about the importance of Jace. Really, I would say in the beginning of my working career, Jason Fitters was probably one of the most important people that helped me, get in the space as well. But then working at the NRL, Frank Pulitua, Nigel Vangana, John Hutchinson, Paul Hiptonstall, like a lot of these guys really helped me. Dean Wooders, Andrew Ryan, but I think for me, from a cultural standpoint, like Hutcho, Nigel, and Frank gave me some really good advice around being in the space, trying to be indispensable, like, man, learn as much as you can. I remember Quinton Pongia, who used to play, he was working in the space and he said, if you don't know what to do, just say, I can do it, and just learn how to do it.
Wow.
and figure it out. And man, there were so many things I didn't know how to do, So I would constantly say, yeah, I can do that. And then I'll just go and ask somebody. And the truth is, I remember when the NRL made a lot of cuts during COVID, I kind of felt confident that they wouldn't cut my role because I had done so much over so many different roles. It was like, well, if we get rid of him, we're going to have to find 4 people when we rehire. So for me, having advice from Nigel and Frank and Hutcho, it was invaluable.
That's a messaging that I think is still important today. And in your role at, I would say NRL, but you're now, it's sort of like league ahead. And I'll get you to unpack that a bit, but because you're liaising with players on a regular basis, day-to-day basis even. Like this weekend's a big one, I'm sure. You come over for work for it, but like, what's the messaging around mentorship that you have with the players, and how does that impact the way that you do your role? And explain a little bit about your role.
Yeah, so my role, I first started working at the NRL, working primarily with just Queensland Rugby League junior players, moved on to State Cup players, and then NRL players now. And I worked within a department called Wellbeing Education at the NRL. And in March this year, it's been in the pipeline for a while, but in March this year, the NRL and the Players Association created a new organization called League Ahead to oversee the wellbeing education. So they kind of were at loggerheads over a lot of issues. And because we sat within the NRL, they just thought it would be, we'd become like Switzerland and sit over here and not be able to, the Players Association argue with them, or the NRL feel uncomfortable with what we do. So they created a new organization called League Ahead, which is where I work now. So League Ahead oversee the wellbeing education of the elite arm of the NRL and NRLW, and we do primarily wellbeing education, and I specialize within the Pacifica space and the faith space. So I work with all the chaplains at clubs, and then I run all the Pacifica programs as well. So on top of that, I do a lot of the just play engagement stuff, working across the game, and really fortunate to have done it, to be in the space, and a lot of it was paid by the great Nigel Vangana. So Nigel is kind of the guru, and I'm still, to this day, he's been gone for ages, but everyone asks, what do you do? I'm like, I just do what Nigel was doing. So Nigel and John Hutchinson, who worked in the space as well. So really fortunate to kind of work across the game and uplift our players in regards to understanding the importance of their culture, how they relate, and also just change the way that we deliver programs as well to players in that space. So, been doing it for a while now and really enjoy it.
I'm really interested because you're really a conduit for players, but also the corporate, the bigger entity of the NRL. What are some learnings for you working in that space I would say you're a bridge builder, but as a bridge builder between players and corporate and like NRL, like what are some of the learnings you've had in that space? Because it can't be easy. When two entities are wanting everything from everyone, and then I feel like league ahead is like, you're now in the middle. Like, what have been some of your learnings?
I think for me, it's I've seen the importance of it's about the work and not about who you work for. I only say that because I know at an executive level there are things that I'm not even privy to in regards to conversations around budgets and things that I'm not privy to. But at the level that I work, it's really important for me to just make sure that the work gets done. Real big on making sure that players feel comfortable with what we're doing, that there's conversations that we're having, and we're trying to build relationships between players and the programs or what we're trying to deliver. I think sometimes things that happen at a certain level that don't affect me, but I don't influence, it can make what you're doing hard. But I've learned, like, if players can understand your heart and see the work that you're doing, you have a greater impact as well. And it is hard in the space trying to do this stuff. Like, there's so many times when I've told players, we're going to do this, and then I've gone to try and do it, and then there's been like, nah, we can't do that, and then I know players will be like, oh, this guy's all talk. You see, we're going to have this conference, we're going to do this program, and but it's just a constant. For me, it's just a constant push to try and, within the group, within my job, there's a group called PWAG, which is a Pacifica Wellbeing Advisory Group. I got to get you a hoodie. Sorry,
I just love the hoodies.
Yeah.
I saw Sam Tingata SS hoodies. Like, bro, where's my hoodies? Like, sorry, it was.
Man, we had to get that guy 3XL in the stomach, but 5XL in the arm, because the man's got the big arms, man.
Arms of doom.
What we always say, we're continually trying to push the boat beyond the reef. And it's for us, that kind of navigation thing, just the importance of, like, our theme this year was we're the navigators, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to help the game navigate in this Pacifica context with players, and trying to let them understand. You might not see where we're going, you might not understand, but that's why we're here. We're here to help you kind of see the vision of what we're trying to do with our players. So in regards to that, we're trying to create the view of a Pacifica player within the Western world. So, we say that only because there's a lot of programs that are created that have been around for a long time that don't kind of fit within the group that we have. And, an example would be like a relocation tool that the game has created to relocate players. Just really kind of making that work within a Pacifica context as well, and the importance of understanding, lifting players up from New Zealand or from could be country New South Wales and bringing them into Sydney. Like, how do we understand those players? What's important to them? And I think in the past, there are some of the questions that they asked weren't important, but being able to, from where I sit, being able to kind of frame things in a different way helps.
Speaking of framing things in a different way, that helps. I'm curious, what is something that you wish the general regular fan and people out there knew about what it's like to hold this tension for players? Like, what do you wish them to know? Because I don't troll, but I just crack up at all the comments when, there's Fox League breaks something in news, or whoever social media outlet, news broadcast some news, and all of a sudden you read the comments, it's like, you have no idea. Like, what is something you wish that the general population would know about players' welfare and well-being, and how, like, the system that they're in? It's like, you shouldn't complain, you earn $200K a year, so shut up and play footy. Like, but it's a lot more complex than that, a lot more layered. And what's a messaging that you wish, hey, this is what you need to know about player welfare, and also corporate space, and you're dealing with other entities who pay for you. But yeah,
man, probably something that I've had to learn myself, which is playing with players is really different from working in the space and really getting to know the ins and outs of guys. When you play with players, you might know the surface stuff. You might get a relationship with the families and might meet mum and dad or might know the brothers. But working in the space, one thing I've learned is just, man, everyone has a different story, and not everyone that works in the game, not everyone that's playing in this game comes from a beautiful, loving background. You know what I mean? And yeah, man, we have guys that are in this game that have been brought up in an environment that, bro, the general public wouldn't even survive in. And they've come into the game, and sometimes the game is their saving grace, and some people think that they'd look at that and think like, who cares? But sometimes these guys have been doing an environment for 18 years, and then they come into the game for 2 years, and something happens, and they go, oh, look at this guy.
They get judged straight away.
And it's like, man, like some of the things that is normal for this kid or this player is you'd cry if you heard that it happened. So yeah, being able to, I think for some players, being able to navigate this space on top of their upbringing and where they come from, it's been such a challenge as well. And for me, it's taught me grace, the importance of and at times I would be so judgmental, like, bro, why isn't this guy doing this? Until you get to really know someone, and you probably know this. Also, you meet players
all the time,
and some dudes' stories are hard. You know what I mean? Some people's journey that they've had to navigate to get to where they are. Man, it's a triumph just being here. You know what I mean? And you know it better than anyone.
Well, we talk about a lot, and we emphasize this, the speed of trust by Stephen Covey, but it's a trust currency. And the only way that I'm able to do my work as a chaplain, as part of the wellbeing team, is how fast can I build trust, not for a transactional relationship, but for an actual relationship with the players. And I've learned that it takes time. I wish I would like people to know, hey, it takes time to get to know players. What you see on TV, that's not their life. And like you said, they've come from pretty crazy backgrounds, and then to come in for play for 2-3 years and they do one little slip up, media that's just their job. They want to create a headline and story, but we're very quick to judge. And so for me, when I'm in this space, I'm trying to build relationships and build rapport. And when you do find out the deeper stories of who they are and how they've just survived, I think that's one thing that I wish the general public, some players they just survived to be able to play. They have no idea the traumatic experiences, and this is not one of those, from rags to riches, but yeah, it is. It is. Hence why you see them so grateful, and where they're, and sometimes some players are very reluctant to do interviews. It's like, I might get caught off guard. They might ask me a question, or I respond in an interview where I sort of pause and I look and, I see the way that it's like, nah, man, like we need to tread lightly on how we treat people, particularly in like the media world. And I think it's that trust currency that it's so big. Like, where have you seen that done well in your line of work, like being able to build that trust, and what are some of the positive outcomes that have come about your working relationship with people in that trust space?
Man, you. I think, bro, you're a good example of that. Like I was at the conference. We had a wellbeing conference recently, and bro, the Dolphins wellbeing crew kind of broke away. Yourself and Lakisa and Sam, Willow, and man, you guys went and jumped on a call with some of the younger players, and some of those almost all those younger players weren't playing first grade at the start of the year, and they are now. But to know that they're doing that outside of football with you guys shows that they trust you enough, and that trust currency is so important in this space. And it is for me, it's the number one thing that I have to cling on to in regards to who I am in my workspace, because I want players to be able to trust me, to know that if you come to me, if you need me to do something, I'll help you with it, or I'll find someone who can help you with it. And the other one is that you can trust me with anything that's confidential. You can share something with me, and if you need some help, I can refer you to someone who's a specialist in that space. So, for me, like one thing I've been able to see is bro, you guys are a perfect example of it, man.
Oh,
Like
man,
that
thank
there are players in the space that we are fortunate to have people that are working in the space that players trust with their time.
Yeah.
And you know, as well, we're in the space. They're so, man. I don't want to give you half an hour, man. It's hard enough. We have an end of
10
year.
minutes?
Yeah,
5 minutes?
We have a survey that we have to do with players at the end of the year, and the survey you can sit on the toilet and do it. It takes 5 minutes, and it's so hard to get it done. It's like, bro, players are like, bro, why do I have to?
What is this for?
Yeah. Why? Who's it
Who's
for?
it going to?
Yeah.
Who's it going
And
to?
it's just like, bro, it's for sports bet.
we have
That's
to
what it's for. That,
yeah,
let me have a
we
look.
have to collect data.
Yeah.
We have to in order to do our jobs.
Yeah, I know. So to know that players are giving their time to there are people that are working at clubs that players are willing to give their time to, shows me that they trust these people enough to say, bro, I'll give you something that's important. You know, they kind of say, like, whatever you do with your time outside of what you're getting paid for, you're passionate about. Yeah, I feel like when players, when they use the currency of time to say, I'll give some of that to you, it shows that they trust you enough to, and you're valuable enough in their life.
Oh, man. You're reminding me of so many conversations that I've had with elite players.
Yeah.
Who just at first it's a bit of distance. They don't really know me. They know I'm a good guy or whatnot, but again, it's the more time you spend with them. And I guess what I'm getting to is like time. It's that trust currency, but it's that time currency as well. The more time you invest in something, keep going back to it. It grows. And that return on investment, that ROI, like people talk about in finance and corporate, the return on investment is trust. It's not. I don't want anything from you. I just want the best for you, and that's the conversation that I often have with players, but also with people that I work with. Is like, I don't want anything from you other than I want the best for you. But that comes with conditions, and like, well, this is it, and like, it's called accountability.
It's good.
I'm going to call you out if there's behaviors that I think that are not good for you, but also I'm going to call you forward. Call you out is like, oh, that behavior is not good, and that's not who you are. But calling you forward is like, but this is the standard I know you can get to.
It's good.
Don't look at me, but look at the standard that I want you to raise to. And I think that's a conversation that I think that continues to happen, calling out and calling forward, calling out, calling forward. Have you had moments in your career, whether it be playing, whether it be work, where someone has called you out, called you forward, and it's made you a better person or a better practitioner of what you do?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think...
give us a call-out moment. Who called you out on the paddock?
Man, you know... Probably someone that I have in my close circle is Dr. Dave Lakisa. Yeah. And I think, I think it's really important to have someone in your life that can hold you accountable. Yeah. And you work with the great the great doc. I think, one thing I've learned is, man, don't be scared being around people who are smarter than you. Like,
what is it about that? Yeah, tell us more about that.
Just the importance of like, man, I'm constantly trying to learn in the space. I have no problem saying like, I don't know what I'm doing here, or I need to learn more around this space. I know what I'm good at, and I try and be really, really diligent in that space. I've learned to kind of that growth mindset of being around smarter people and bringing them in. And I think there has definitely been a lot of stuff that I've tried to do that. Someone like Dave Lakisa has pulled me back and said, no, I don't think you should be doing that. Or,
handbrake.
Yeah. and also my first boss that I had at the NRL, Murray Hurst. Anyone who knows Murray, he is the most, I've never met anyone as directors, and we've been in a meeting where someone's talked and he's just been, hey, can you're talking too much. You just need to stop. Yeah. So, he is the most upfront person I've ever met, and I learned from him just really the importance of being honest with what you do, and being diligent. And he was real big on the little stuff as well. Like he was real big on showing up on time, shaking people's hands, looking people in the eye, being honest. If you're going to do something, then do it. If you say you can't do it, then tell people. So he was someone who would had no problem calling me out on making sure that I did what I was supposed to do. Yeah.
It's like that, seeing that potential in people, It's like, I think one of the biggest things that I've resonated with over the last few years is like, in terms of seeing the potential, but being really good at what you do and staying in your lane, is that the saying that goes, if you're the smartest in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's not in an arrogant way, I don't think. Like, people can interpret it so, oh, what are you trying to say? You're better than everyone else, so you're in the next room. It's like, no, I want to learn to be better.
Yeah.
So if I'm the only one, the we call it in Defense Force SME, subject matter expert. If I'm the expert, which I get, it's a seat of privilege and honor, but who am I learning from? If my learning isn't growing, even as a player, like think about it, if you're the best position, but you're going, well, actually I can learn from others and be a better, like there's a feeling sometimes that comes with that. It's like, oh, it's arrogance. How do you balance between that? I want to be better, but I still want to be humble. That arrogance and humility piece.
Oh man, that's yeah. I don't know. When I think, man, Nigel Wagner is probably one of the earliest people in my workspace that had no problem kind of questioning anything that I did. I remember I moved here from overseas, and with Jason Fitters we tried to run a Pasifika program, and I was like, bro, I'm so passionate about working with Pasifika, I want to do this. And this is before I was working at the NRL, before I even worked at Bundamba. And we created this kind of program, and man, he tore it to shreds. He was just like, where have you done this? Who have you done this? Who's done the research on this? What's the back?
Where's the data?
Yeah. And it was like such a humbling experience. But man, Nigel, I grew up with Nigel, same school, same church, same league club, bro. We are like family, you know what I mean? But he had no problem like questioning.
Put that professional hat on. Okay, let's talk shop. Let's talk about
And the truth is, like, everything that Nigel did to me is how I would approach anyone else now, friends or family. I'd ask the same questions now, and like I think as humbling as it was such a great learning experience as well. Like, we can have that conversation as friends, but you're ask me in a work context, I want to give you an answer from a work context. So I think, man, for me it's so important having those kind of people in your life, you know what I mean, and being able to have people that have a different view from you is really important as well.
What are some of the things that have been helpful for you when I call it, it's not my terminology that I coined, crucial conversations. What are some of the helpful tips that you think are good for people who are wanting to have those difficult or crucial conversations? Like, what are some things that you think back now? It's like, how have I handled that? How could have I handled that better? Or what's the best way to have a hard conversation? Because I think Steph Cavallis, who's the GM for Sunnybank, we had her on the podcast. She's always in this position of, I'm having these constant crucial conversations. How do you do it? Like, what has been some of the things that have been helpful for you when you're needing to have a tough, crucial conversation?
Oh man, I've got 3 daughters, so this is if someone's got some advice, please give it to me. But I think, man, first of all, learn to just step into that uncomfortable situation. As uncomfortable as it is, someone has to do it. And I've learned, like, I'd rather it be me than anyone else. So for me, it's one thing is to kind of be bold and step into those situations, because, man, as a parent as well, there's a lot of stuff that I think you need to address that I'd rather I address it than someone else address it. I think what underlies all that is just honesty. Like, for my family, one thing we try and do is, and man, this is a Pasifika thing as well, but is transparency and accountability. Like, everyone wants to know what's going on, and everyone wants to know, like, who's accountable for this, you know what I mean? So, like, for me, I feel like being able to have those open conversations and be honest about things is really important, so that, everything's out there. I don't want to have to leave here. And we have a family meeting every month for my family here in Brisbane, and we always say, like, don't leave the meeting and then start backstabbing everyone. Like, if you got something to say it now.
Say it now.
Yeah, like,
let's just straight in the chat.
Yeah, let's just get it out of the way, which is true. You know what I mean? A lot of times, you don't say stuff when you need to say it, and you have to address it later. And I think being able to be open and honest within that situation is really important, and step into being uncomfortable around that.
Man, I hear everything I just said. It's like I'm thinking back all my family meetings, all my team meetings. It's like, why did you, or like even when I worked in church space as well, like a board, we make a decision, cool, we're on board, okay, we understand, you may not agree, but collectively, unanimous, we're going to go forward. Next minute, you hear whispers like, did someone leak the information, or did someone really unhappy with what we said and was like, you're undermining everything. So
Yeah.
I think that's a big lesson in leadership.
Oh man, we just had a survey at church. They sent it out, and it was one of the questions was like, "Is there something that we need to improve on?" And give us some solutions. You know what I mean? So don't sit there and
I like
complain
that.
about it.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
complain about it.
Yeah.
Just if you've got something that you're not happy with, tell us how we can address it. Yeah, improve it. Yeah, so
improve.
I'm a big believer in there's a difference between trying to say something and complaining. Yeah.
How good is that? How good is that? We're wrapping up now, and then again, I'm really mindful of your time. But what is something that you are looking forward to in terms of your role? What's something you're looking forward to? The role that you hold, and point B is as a dad and a husband for this year. What's something you're looking forward to in your role, and then also that family piece?
Yeah, I think.
Don't say holidays.
No. In regards to work, we're close to finalizing a new Pacifica digital resource that we're doing with Pacific Kids Learning. Shout out to Pacific Kids Learning down in Gold Coast.
Do you want to give him are you allowed to talk about it? I don't want to get you to talk about it.
No. I
This
can
is
definitely talk about
plug it right now.
Pacific Kids Learning a digital online library that create content around the Pacifica space, and man, if you haven't gone on their website, go and have a look.
Pacifica Kids Learning.
Pacific Kids Learning.
Or just type that in.
I'm not too sure. Yeah,
internet.
I'm not sure. I just call them PKL. So,
and that's a collaboration piece of sport.
Yeah, it's a collaboration piece through League Ahead with them, and they're creating a digital resource for us around the Whanawhale wellbeing model and the Te Whare Tapawha wellbeing model. So the NRL have used their own kind of wellbeing wheel for the last few years, and being able through our PWAG group, being able to kind of nudge the NRL to say, hey, listen, can we start using some of these different methodologies with the players? So Pacific Kids Learning have created this new resource, so really excited about it because it's something new, it's something cultural, it's something that I think a lot of players would resonate with them, and again, excited about what that looks like. Close to finishing it. There's been a lot of little things that I've learned in the space that I'm not good at, and I've had to bring
yes, I'll do it. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll do it.
So we did a little narration up in the Dolphins with some of your workmates
Shout
the
out
other
Eddie,
day,
my boy,
and
hardest work in the room.
I think we thought we were all on Channel 9 News trying to do our narration, so we've had to re-record it about 8 times. So so we've got that coming out this year, which is again. Being able to kind of nudge that boat a little bit more and say, bro, we've got something else that's coming to the game. And then from a personal context, we've just finished weddings, funerals, and birthdays. So it's been for my family, it's been a really hectic 2 weeks. We've had some real highs and some real lows lately. It's probably just more so about just trying to enjoy each other's company. I got my parents here from New Zealand at the moment, so just trying to enjoy time with my mum and dad here as well. And in regards to family stuff, we've just come through a hectic season. So I just want, I know we're on the podcast here, but I just want to shout out to my Eriko family as well, who we just lost like my little sis. So it's been tough for my family. It's been a tough definitely been a tough 2 weeks for my wife. Just sitting talking about it before I came here. So but I'm grateful for opportunities to come in and connect, and even just hang out with you. Also, it's like stuff like this is so important. So happy.
So this is my last question, and it's I want you to start putting your maybe philosophical, your legacy hat on. You have just picture yourself in a big auditorium. I'm just painting a picture now mentally, and again for those listeners, you can do the same as well. Big auditorium, and it's your last speech before something bad or whatever happens. But it's your last opportunity to say something to everyone. What is the thing that you want to tell people about yourself? Like, what is it that you want people to know? Like, this is it. And it's a bit morbid. I don't just say it the last thing before you pass away. But, like, if you had a moment, you could say your final Martin Luther speech moment, Coach Carter moment, about who you are and what you want them to know. Like, what would that conversation, or what would that speech look like? Or sound like?
Man, I don't know. Man, the word for today, this morning, was, I think it was John 14:6, which is, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And, for me, it would be something that points everyone towards God. Yeah, if that was my last speech, I don't know, it would be something along the lines of, love God, love this family. I love God, I love my family. And I'm not going to take them for granted. I guess, obviously, as I was just saying, just coming off the back of a funeral, death is a big slap in the face that makes you go, hey, don't forget about this. And I feel like, for me, my reminder is to tell the people that you love them, and enjoy every single moment that you have with them. So, for me, if I was to tell anyone anything, again, it would be direct them towards Christ. And make sure that you tell people in your life that you love them, you know. And for me, that's, there's no greater joy for me than those two things. When I think about who I am and what's important to me.
And that is very evident by the way you live your life. It's very evident by the way we have our conversations. And you know, the NRL league ahead and the players and the people you work with are tremendously blessed because of your presence. People may not say it. I can say it.
Amen.
I'm a big believer in give someone their roses while they're still here. So this is my moment to give you a thank you again for being one of our community leaders, just being someone who stands on what you believe in. And I think the more we can do that, and the more it's seen, the more it inspires me to do the same. So thank you again for your time. Appreciate it. And thank you again for all our listeners for tuning in. This is the podcast episode with David Solomona. This is episode, I believe, 7. I'm losing count. We've done so many episodes. But whatever it says in the description, that's the number of episodes. And again, grateful for you to tuning in. And we look forward to the next episode. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Jesus.